Okay, welcome to another edition of the Gaswa Outreach Show. I am super excited that you are joining me already. And I've seen some people already joining. That is wonderful. Please, when you come on, please do us the honors. Make sure that you share, make sure that you leave us a comment, and make sure that please you subscribe to our channels. So please subscribe, like our Gaswa Outreach page. If you're watching us from YouTube, please make sure that you subscribe to our channel, because what happens is that every time we go live in the future, you will get instant notification and you'll be part of this wonderful family. Already, I can see a lot of people joining us, which is wonderful. So please make sure that you, add people, you subscribe, you invite people, because today we're having a wonderful discussion today. So we'll be right back. Hello once again and welcome. And as I said, that we are super excited that you are here. Already we're having about 11 people who are watching us across the various channels on YouTube, on Facebook. Already the comments have started coming in, and we are glad that you are commenting. Loretta, oh, hello and welcome. If you can hear me, please let me know that you can hear me loud and clear, and leave a comment for us, because as I said, that today we're going to have a wonderful discussion. Please make sure that you again like, you share, and you invite people to come and join, because today's discussion is absolutely amazing and wonderful. We're going to learn a lot today. So again, what are we discussing today? Today we're looking at the topic of religion and culture and the impact it has on children with disabilities within the African Asian minority communities. This is a very important topic indeed, because there are so many misconceptions. There are so many things that people go through. People are advised that you have to go to prayer camps to be able to pray for a child that is has a disability or disabled. People are told that your child has got a disability because of a sin that you committed, or maybe it is a result of something that you did. Is that the case? Today we're going to have that discussion. And please, as I said, please make sure that you leave us the comments. I'm so excited that people are already joining. Yes, good evening. Nevia, good evening. And our vice president, that is our vice president, Madam Laura, is saying hello to all and hello to our guests. So we are really, really excited indeed. So please make sure that you leave us those comments and make sure that you join in that conversation, because as I said, today's topic is absolutely amazing, and it's important that we join in this conversation. We need to learn something from today's discussions. So once again, we are privileged as Gaswa. And as I said, last week, I reminded people of what we do. We are the Ghanaian Social Workers Association. And what we do before lockdown was that we were going into communities. We were going into churches. We were going into the organizations to do preventative work. We are about preventative work. We don't want children to end up in local authority care. We don't want children to be unnecessarily subject to child protection plans. We want to do the work before it gets there. That is why we came together as an association. Already we have almost about, I would say, in over 90 sympathizers. I call sympathizers because you have to be a registered member. You'll be paying your dues before you're considered as a full member of GASWA. So yes, so please make sure you get in touch with us, because what we've noticed is that people are fellowshipping on Zoom. People are fellowshipping in their churches through Zoom. We want to come there and get the education out there before the lockdown is lifted, so that we make sure that we keep ourselves safe. We make sure we look after our children. We make sure that their children don't end up with strangers. So that is why today we are here again as the Ghanaian Social Workers Association to have this conversation. So who do we have in the house? We have A number of people in the house. Some of them are familiar, some of them are new to us. So I'll go around and we will do our introduction again. So can we start with Madame Latifa Jones? Hello, Madame.
Hello, Kweku, and hello, everyone watching tonight. Thank you very much for participating, and hope we're going to have a very interesting conversation. My name is Tina Latifa Jones. I'm an independent social work consultant, but I'm also a foster carer, and I have relatives and friends who have children with disability.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mami Ajoy is saying, yes, we are hearing you loud and clear. Thank you very much for that. And Papa Tony is saying, hello all. Yes, hello to you too. Fatima is also saying that hello everyone. Madam Tina, how important is this topic to you?
Kweku, apart from the fact that I have friends and loved ones with children with disability, as a BAME community, actually in the Baswa magazine today, the Professional Social Workers magazine today, we are no longer BAME, BAME community, we are BEMER, BAMER. R stands for the refugees.
Wow.
And someone that works with unaccompanied asylum seekers as well. This topic cannot be, there's no words to describe the importance of it, especially in our community, because a lot of parents and a lot of children are suffering in silence and are not aware of the support that is available for us here in the UK. But of course, I know we have viewers from all over the world, in Ghana, in other parts of Africa, and I'm sure they may not have the same service as the UK, but there is no point in suffering in silence. We need to work with our communities, with our religious leaders. Not all of them are doing it in terms of maybe for money, but also some religious leaders don't understand the issue of disabilities and how that can be resolved. So like you rightly said, we need to work with our community and faith leaders so that the right support can be given to our young people. Thank you.
Absolutely. The right support should be given to our young people. Yes. All right. So we have Madam Hindi today with us. Hello, Madam Hindi. Oh, sorry. Wrong person. Hello, Madam Hindi.
Hello, Kweku.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
And welcome to the Gasua Outreach Show.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me on.
We are absolutely delighted to have you too. So, okay, so everybody can see that you're a school nurse. So tell us something briefly about yourself and how this topic is quite important to you.
All right. So my name is Hindi Koras. You see, I'm registered nurse. My background is adult nursing, and now in school nursing with children. I wear two caps actually. I'm in hospitality as well, events and things like that. So, but my main one is school nursing. This topic is really, really important to me because as working in schools from primary school to secondary school, you come across and you meet lots of families who, as Tina said, rightly are struggling and not aware that there's support out there.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a mere fact that they see you want to help them, but because they see you and because of the stigma attached to some of the disabilities, they don't want to come to you for that support that is there or even that help. Just the first step to make is talking to them, but that is sometimes very difficult for for our parents that we meet. So we make that effort. So we just want the parents to know what support out there and just be open and honest and talk about it. So it's really important, and for the emotional well-being of the children as well.
Okay, somebody's saying hello, sister. Yeah, I hope you recognize the person.
Yeah.
So you already, people are tracking you here. It is a very small world, isn't it?
Yeah, it's it.
All right. Okay. So certainly, last but not the least, can you unmute yourself, please? Certainly, last but not the least, let me take this banner off, and let's move on to Madame Barbara Aqua. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Madame Barbara Aqua has been here before. She is a member of the Ghanaian Social Workers Association. She's a social worker. And, look, let me not do the talking for you. Tell us something about yourself.
Okay, I'm Barbara Akwa. I'm a member of the GASWA, Ghana Association of Social Workers. My profession is for social worker. I was a children's social worker for 7 years, and I have recently transitioned into adult social care, working with the disability team. I also support my husband with the church that we've got in Coventry. So I'm co-pastoring with my husband in House of Revival. And this topic is quite dear to my heart because I've got a personal experience with someone with disability in my family. And I also have seen people struggle through my line of work and in church. And I it's something that is really, really dear to me. It hits quite home for me. So it promises to be a good discussion today. We're going to be quite honest and practical in the discussion. So hopefully people will be able to glean from the resources that we will share.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, and Madame Barbara, as she said, she's got a daughter, so she has a lived experience, and today it's going to be quite rich. Look, our social media is buzzing already. We have about 30 people who are watching us right now, and the comments are coming in thick and fast. We want to appreciate you because you are the reason why we are here. So, Madame Ophelia Ofori, please, thank you for coming through. She's one of the executives of GASWA. She's our treasurer. Please, if you are GASWA member and you are watching, pay your dues. That's what we have Inshraba Jemima is a mate of us. We went to Legon together, and back in the UK, she is very supportive of our program. She's always here. I'm looking for our number one fan, Madame Trudy. I don't know what just happened to her today. I'm looking for her somewhere. I hope that she's there. Mami Ajua, thank you very much for tuning in. We are very grateful for you tuning in. Nevia, thank you very much again for tuning in. Papa Tony, Fatima, thank you very much for tuning in. She said hello everyone to us before. Patricia, thank you very much for tuning in. We are really, really appreciative of you joining us. Madam Yabuachua, she's our organizing secretary. All right. Okay, she's the one and only Madam Yabuachua. All right, thank you very much for tuning in. We really appreciate that. Is it Mosbio, is it Mosbio? I hope I pronounce your name correctly. Interesting program. Thank you very much that you are interested in this program. And Nana Ejapoma is saying that great program. Thank you very much. And we really appreciate that. Okay, so we have more comments coming in. We have Sister Serena saying, hello, interesting topic. Oh, yes, thank you. Today we're going to have fun. Yes. And yes, pay your dues. Thank you very much for agreeing. Carol saying everybody should, And what? Mia is saying hello. Hello to you too, Mia. And yes, I have a child with disability. I hope I get answers to some of the problems. Oh, yes, we're hoping that you definitely have some answers. And please share your experience too as we go along the topic. And already somebody is also saying that great program. Thank you for educating the community. So even before we start, people are getting super excited about it, and they are really, really appreciating what we are talking about. Let's go into it. Let's start the conversation. Can I come to you, Madam Tina?
Sure.
If somebody is saying that somebody has disability, what does that mean to you?
Right. Thank you very much, Kweku, for that question. And I think before we go into disability and children with disability and bringing in culture and religion and all of that, I would like us to start with the UK definition of disability. And I do apologize for viewers watching outside of the UK, but I want to make sure I get my evidence correct in line with legislation and policy. So apologies if I keep referring to the UK, because that is where my practice registration lies. But of course, viewers from other parts of the world can also contribute in terms of legislation and policy and support out there.
Yeah.
So in terms of definition of disability, under the Equality Act 2010, Section 6, it states that disability means anyone that has a physical or mental impairment And that impairment has a substantial and long-term adverse effects on your ability to carry out normal day-to-day activities. When we talk about physical impairment, it's very easy for most people to identify. Therefore, in the UK, such disabilities are automatically treated. So when a child is born, that child will be put under social services because that child will be seen as a child in need. So it's very straightforward. However, when it comes to the mental or emotional impairment, or what some see as learning difficulty or special needs, it gets a bit tricky in terms of the assessment because it's not physical. And this is what I call the hidden disabilities. Now, this legislation, Equality Act 2010, really put together all the different disability acts together, and it actually made it very, very easy, but on the other hand, quite difficult in terms of assessment and for parents to identify and get the right support. So in a nutshell, anyone or a child who is not able to do the usual day-to-day activities in line with the child's age, functionality, and all of that, that child could be seen as having a special need or having a disability. And the best way to identify that and get the support really is having that child assessed. I hope I've made it clear there. So the physical disabilities example is blindness, physical disfigurement. You have children with cerebral palsy. Some children are non-verbal. So all those things are physical, but the hidden disabilities could be, initially, especially children, is very difficult to identify. So a lot of people may look at it as behavioral problem. So for example, you have a child with ADHD, you have a child with ASD, dyspraxia, a lot of these huge names, and some of these disabilities, names have not even been identified yet. So we really need to get it assessed by professionals so that the children get the right support in time. So
yes, I mean, that is an extensive definition. And I'm wondering whether you've left anything for the other guests. That is an extensive definition. And before I bring in Madam Hindi to also chip in, let me again acknowledge those who are also watching us on Facebook right now. Madam Florence, has joined and, say to us, hello. Thank you, Madam Florence. Nice one. Thank you too. Fatau, yes. Okay. My sister Hindi. Oh, so we've got a brother there. Okay. So now this is John defining. I'm going to show it briefly because you covered the screen. Yes. Okay. So when you are there, when you go to our comments, you'll be able to see this is John as our welfare lead. He's very knowledgeable, and when he comes on, he gives a lot of facts. Yes, but his facts will cover our screen, so it's not meant for the screen, but it's meant for those who are watching. Thank you, Madam Josephine Afrifa is one of the PhD holders. Doctor. Sorry, apologies. I have to address you correctly, Madam. Dr. Josephine Afrifa is watching us. Thank you very much for joining. And a lot of people are joining too, and the numbers keep on increasing. So please join that conversation. Thank you very much. Now let me bring on Madam Hindi to give a perception of when we talk about disabilities. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, actually, Tina said everything, as you rightly said. Yeah. So from what Tina just explained, basically it's just finding it difficult to go out on your own and doing your day-to-day activities because of a phobia or any physical or emotional restriction or even learning difficulty. Okay, so once you are, that's basically what it means, the disability. If you're not able to carry yourself out because of any limiting factors, then you know that yes, you cannot function from your day-to-day activities. And as Tina rightly said, the hidden difficulties are there. Things that you can't do day-to-day. What are things that you can't do day-to-day? Include walking or driving.
Okay.
Things that we take for granted. So walking, driving, washing, or even dressing up on your own, cooking or eating, writing, typing, or even reading. Using public transport.
Yeah.
things that you think, just being able to concentrate or just being in a room with people, limiting you. It's all those hidden phobias that we talk about. And also the hidden difficulties, even asthma. Yeah. Asthma, diabetes, the ADHD that Tina talked about. Little things like that. What's the commonest? The sickle cell.
Okay.
Things that people don't see, but then have limiting effect on your personality, that you cannot achieve your day-to-day functionality. It's really, really important. And then if I talk about from a school nurse point of view, the child needs to be happy in school, needs to be able to achieve in school. So if these things are limiting this child, that means they're finding things difficult. And we all know how bullying is in school. If the child doesn't seem to be like Joe Blocks on the next table, the friends are just going to be laughing at this child. So we need this child to be happy in school, be safe in school. But if there are limiting factors, then they need to seek the right support so that this child can function properly and be happy in school.
Wonderful explanation. I mean, some of the diseases that you were adding, it makes it quite broad. And you raise a very important question, because a lot of people are thinking, should my child with disability be schooled in a mainstream school, or should my child be schooled in a specialist school? There are a lot of questions that a lot of people will be asking. So it is good that you talk about children within the school setting. Now I'm going to bring in Madame Barbara. Now your experience is quite unique, because actually you have a daughter with a disability. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Okay. It's been it's 17 years now, but it's still fresh. Like you said, I've got a daughter, a 17-year-old daughter with special needs. She's got Prader-Willi syndrome. We went through a lot of challenges during her birth, and after she was diagnosed with this condition. It's part of the hidden disability that my colleagues were talking about. So I think initially it was difficult. Initially we didn't know what was wrong, what was happening. She wasn't eating, she wasn't functioning as a baby. She wouldn't suck, and they did an assessment and she was a bit floppy. So we stayed in intensive care for quite 3 months plus. So she came home, and then later on we received a diagnosis that she's got a Prader-Willi syndrome. In fact, I didn't have a clue what they were talking about. I didn't know what it is. All I saw was, I've got my daughter, and this was my first daughter, my first child, newly married with your child. All you know is that you've got your baby. I couldn't understand what they were talking about. So it was like, okay, let them say what they have to say. I have my faith in the Lord. I have my family around me. So everything is going to be all right. But then we went through the process of, all her developmental milestones were delayed, significantly delayed. And then you come to grasp with reality as, they are moving through the stages of development. And then you begin to ask the questions and wonder what is happening. And at the time, I remember they were giving us we had a physiotherapist, other therapists coming around. We were going for appointments, but still it hadn't sunk in. I think it really sunk in when she was at a school-going age, when she started nursery, when she was not communicating, verbally communicating, and she was still incontinent. We had quite a challenge from that school, because they wanted her to stay at home because they couldn't meet her needs. And this was way back in 2003, in the UK. So, but with my background as a teacher at the time, I was able to challenge some of the decisions that you know, they were meeting for her. So eventually, she went through EHCP plan.
Right.
And then they offered a specialist school for her.
Mm-hmm.
That at that point, it was quite difficult because of one, my background and the stereotypical, you know, judgments around children with disability.
Yeah.
At that point, I had still not accepted my child as a child with special needs.
Okay.
You know, so it was very, very difficult. It took a lot of, you know, counseling, not professional counseling, but people around me, family, friends, you know, and then people also giving alternative, you know, in terms of what can help with accessing these mainstream support.
Right.
It was difficult, but eventually we came around it and then started receiving mainstream support. But the emotional impact that having a child with disability has on you as a parent and even your family is huge. And I'm sure we're going to go into those discussions later. And people tend to underestimate and make judgments about your decisions and how you present yourself. I can say today that that experience changed who I am, you know. I became very, you know, inquisitive. I was asking questions all the time. I was on edge because you wonder who is going to ask questions, who is judging you, who is looking at you some way. So you tend to defend yourself with everything. And then you are asking questions. You become, you complain about everything. You go through different phases of depression. Which I didn't even know at the time that is what it was. You know, it was hard. You know, it was really hard. My husband didn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand what was going on. All we knew at the time is that we believe in God, so we are praying. And then you come to a place and it's like, I've been praying for so long and still I'm not seeing the results that I want to see. Wow. So that also add up to, you know, the rejection and things. So it was quite difficult. But when you look on the flip side, she is a lovely, lovely girl. Oh. You know, lovely, and it's such a blessing that you look at her and then it compensates for all the whatever you think or whatever you are going through. And within my family, she was never treated as a special needs child. All we knew was that she was our daughter, you know, and that she went through the whatever we do as a family. She had her limitation, we compensate and support her through that. So that's what I'll say for now. And then as we carry on, then we'll talk more about it.
You know what, ma'am, we applaud you. And again, that is what Isha is saying. Isha, thank you very much for making that comment. We applaud you and we celebrate you. And thank you for sharing your story. And somebody was saying, I've got a child with disability. Please, I want to hear the positive stories. I want to hear something. I want to come out from this discussion with something. And Madame Ophelia is saying, Barbara, so glad you mentioned that last bit about praying without end. Yes, religion also has a role to play, isn't it? Religion indeed does have a role to play. Please let me acknowledge a few of our husbands who've joined us. Mr. Ken Cora, you know, he said that, hello, my sweetheart. We love it when the husbands join, you know, that's a challenge. Now, I think that Mr. Pastor, you know, Mr. Jones, you need to join quickly. We love the husbands and for supporting us, and thank you very much for joining. Let me also acknowledge other people who have also joined as well. Madame Ifwa, you know, thank you very much for joining. A lot of people are joining, and we really, really appreciate that. Yes, Obaya is saying Obaya is now recently appointed assistant welfare lead for Gaswa. So Obaya is new in her post and she's doing her work. And she's agreeing that, please, thank you for sharing your experience. And Papa Tony is saying that, oh, Lady Babs, thank you for your and Ekia, oh, lovely girl indeed, I adore her, and she adores everyone around her. Oh, so Ekia, Aqua Yabua knows your daughter and can agree to that. So thank you so much for that wonderful thing. We'll be here forever if we don't move on with the discussion. So you know what? I think we've covered some of the hidden, I would say, disabilities within our communities. But let's emphasize it because it makes a difference, doesn't it? When somebody see that somebody is physically disabled and they see it, they treat them differently. When it is not seen, it is considered as, collabonism. Papa. Nipa no kro nim ade wa oba no so. Ebi wo no ma akola ne beba no wa ye bibi kakra na enkofo atu esi akola no so. Chese yasema yasefim papa. Ebia na oba ne ye bibi, oba wedi onye oba ne onye yes efi se ne yare no ayira ne yare no eni abonten no bi ehu. E ma ne ye dimpa. Enti ye pese kan wasem kakra. De ewo nipadua na enyi a wonam nipa na fefefe onam kama. Enso no na ebia na bibi se obi kura kokotra ne kemu na se won tongu ne na so na se okotra kemu na hu so disabled badge kura na jealous. Enso wonnim yare kura nipa no. Yen kan wasem kakra. Madam Tina, let me come to you. Let's talk about the hidden disabilities, please.
Thank you once again, Kweku. When we talk about hidden disabilities, it's almost like how long is a piece of string? Like you rightly said, because people empathize with physical disabilities that are easily seen. Some of these disabilities can also be seen, but unfortunately, like I mentioned earlier, it is seen through behavior. And unfortunately, some of this is because of the way the children are feeling frustrated in expressing themselves. They express themselves in a manner that comes across to the lay person as being rude, being aggressive, being violent. So example is children with the ADHD. They have so much energy. And if the energy is not exerted in different ways, then they get frustrated. Typical example, you sit in a church. Our African churches, 3-4 hours, we are sitting in church. And a lot of the time we go to church and the children are supposed to go to the Sunday school, poor Sunday school teachers. Some of them are trained in safeguarding, but not a lot of them are trained in identifying special needs children or children with special needs.
Yes.
Therefore, the child can be seen as being disruptive. And sometimes the parents can even be called to come and deal with their child because they are disturbing the rest of the children. So it causes a lot of problems in our community when it comes to the hidden disability. You have disability that is called dyspraxia. I once fostered a lovely child who has dyspraxia, which means that her balance is not very good, and also she breaks things easily, and she touches and picks things. Anything she sees, she picks before she even think about, and so a lot of the time you have to be on your guard all the time. So children like that, when you take them to our typical African parties, people will see them and they'll actually pull their children away, thinking that it's contagious, it's infectious. So the stigma that attached to hidden disabilities in our community is what is deterring some of the parents to even access support. So we can't stress enough about any parent who has a child and feel like their chronological age and their behavior is not in line or in sync. Please, you need to get the support. It's better to seek support for them to say your child is okay than not seeking support and realizing later in life that had you seek for that support earlier, that child would have been able to live a near to normal life, like we say.
Yeah.
So I mean, there are so many. You have children that are developing MS. I manage a HIV charity for many years, and some of the children, unfortunately, although the birth rate of children with HIV is quite low, we still have the odd ones here and there that are born with HIV, and that leads to other conditions like lupus. Lupus is one of the most difficult conditions to diagnose, especially when it comes with other things. So doctors could struggle with that. Some children with sickle cell has lupus. Some of them may have, all other conditions. You have hepatitis that may have effect on the liver, and therefore the child will have low energy. So there's so many different hidden disabilities. But the most important thing is those of us lay people around the parents with such children, please, let's refrain from stigmatizing from those children. It's better for us to ask questions and ask for understanding than treating them like lepers, like they are second-class citizens.
Wow. You've spoken very well about this.
Thank you.
Just say, "Wono utria ye, yankopon na adom na se oba bibie eni ne ho a memba mbe bobie enima bomfia me twetwere obi ka se oye opini boni ya ready bi wonu mu a enho odin pa se doctor for kra be hu ombe bre ne ubeko adechi ubeko na unhu de eye oba no potin just say eye ade ya pa yi na se oya wofo pa na se offense obi bomodia na ka kire o say me ba no enye se oya kolaboni na yare kakra na wono so a eye amoma ye nti ase ye momu say omokroma ya ade since ye betwetwe ni ebu omo anichie omonya ba kra na yetwe ye ba ene niema. Thank you very much, Madam Tina. I'm going to move on to Madam Hindi because today, as I said, this discussion is so otherwise we'll be here till 9 o'clock. So let me move on briefly and let me come to Madam Hindi for you to share your experience in terms of the hidden disabilities.
Okay, thanks, Kweku. I know Tina has said a lot, but can I just say, from my point of view, what we need to understand is that when a child is born, you have a visit from the midwife, you have a visit from the health visitor. The health visitor now passes on after 5, you are being looked after by the school nurse. Now, one Madame Barbara was talking about and saying that when the nurses told her or the doctors told her about her daughter, you had a health visitor visiting. The health visitor does these developmental checks and everything with you. So that's where some of these things are picked up or are discussed. So some people or some parents are not aware of that support from the health visitor. This is the point where you actually need to discuss and be honest about the child's development. I always tell my parents, you know your child best. So you know what the child is going through. And there's some things that you can pick up before the health professional can pick up. So when it comes to school nursing, this is where you actually see everything, because the child has started school, the child with her peers, and then some things are not really matching together. So you need to pick up all these things. So you have your school nurse there, and then you need to utilize them. People are not aware of what the school nurses do. The school nurses are there for that support, for that emotional support, and to help with the EHC plan. Somebody asked the question, what is EHC plan? It's the Educational Health Care Plan that is put together in school to support this child. Okay? So the hidden disabilities that we talked about and Tina talked about, I always use the very common one that we have children in school. Most children will have, lots of children have asthma. And it will amaze you that is something that is always overlooked. And we do have some children really suffer with asthma. It is simple by not sitting too close to their window. Very simple. So if the parent don't talk about it and don't take it seriously enough, the child is going to be sitting by the window all the time with the dust and everything affecting the child. And that's going to impact on the learning of the child. So with that EHC plan, if you pick that up, you have a care plan in school with the child and the teacher. So that this child is going to have a good time in school, because they're not going to be, nothing's going to be in the way of that child. That child's learning needs. Okay, so where you have your school nurse and your health visitor, we need to utilize them. People don't utilize the school nurse and the health visitors enough. I just want to stress that point. Please use them, because as Madam Barbara said, if you or Tina said, if you take the child for diagnosis and they said there's nothing wrong with the child, then that's fine. But you need to press on. If you know there's something that's not right, you need to press on. You know your child is struggling with anxiety, with a phobia. Your child cannot stay in school or cannot be with their friends, because this child is going to come home all the time stressed out, not happy, and then it develops into other things. We have self-harming and all these things happening in school, and that's because we actually don't take time to study the children and see what they're going through. So we need to utilize the professionals that are the early stages of the child's life, especially with the hidden disabilities, because it's not pronounced, so nobody sees it.
Yes.
With the dyspraxia and all that, the clumsiness and all that, it's really something that we need to look at. You say, oh, the child is very clumsy. Oh, this child, oh, she's always falling over. The child, oh, don't mind her. This child is always falling over. It's something that you need to look out for. Because why should a normal child be walking and always knocking on things, just walking to the table all the time? It's something that we need to look at. It's really, really important. So from the health point of view, I think we need to utilize the school nurses, the health visitors, and be in school all the time. If it means speaking to, we've got people in school called SENCOs, that's a special educational needs coordinators. So we need to use them to draw out a plan for all the children to have a good time in school. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Well, if you've been following, the comments are coming in thick and fast. Our super number one fan, Trudy, has joined. I don't know what happened, Trudy. Somebody beat you to it today and came earlier than you. Trudy, thank you very much for coming. I mean, when we see you, then we know that we are in business. Dr. Tedham, Prospera Tedham, is in the house, and she's saying that really insightful information regarding the role of health visitors and the health professionals. Thank you, Professor. I've given you a professor. She's doctor. I'm hoping that you go to professor too. So that is why I'm speaking vision into your life right now.
Yes.
Somebody asked even the question of religion and faith and how that's even impact on it. And even if you were a parent, people would say that normally, in social work, when parents are looking for diagnosis or they are pushing for an assessment, we say, you want to label your child. We accuse them. Sometimes we do it wrongly. So from a parent perspective, let me come to you, Madam Barbara. And also from that religious perspective and the role that faith has to do with this. In terms of your experience, because you said about going through depression, going through all sorts of things, and somebody who is Mamisofo, Mrs. Pastor, people are the pillar of all faiths. Tell us a bit about that hidden experience and how religion and culture impacted on this.
Okay, I think I will have to look at it in two streams. One, the positive impact of my faith in this journey, and then I will also look at the negative impact, if I put it in that sense. I have a strong belief in my faith as a Christian.
Yes.
And I also believe in the healing power and grace of Jesus Christ.
Okay.
And my journey as a Christian has evolved and is a progressive journey. And what I would say is that at the beginning of the diagnosis, I believed, and I still believe, the healing grace of God. And because of that, you become a bit myopic in your view in terms of what the healing grace of God is. It could be that I didn't understand certain aspect of my faith, and so I was walking in blindly in terms of what or the way that God uses, the ways that he uses to heal. So sometimes I think I was just on the verge of instant healing. Do you get it? It has to go away. I do not settle for anything. Do you get it? But then I also learned as I was growing that the will and purposes of God for my daughter supersedes that of my own expectations of her. And I came to a place where I also had to accept it, that this could be a journey for her as an individual, and the way God is doing or is using what he's using in terms of his healing process for her. And that is a difficult place to come to, because I believe God as the healer, and I've got experiences of instant healing, you know. And then when it comes to my daughter, it's like God is playing chess with this one, you know. What is he doing? Why is he not acting quick when I have seen Mrs. Whatever has been healed from diabetes, cancer, and we've got medical, you know, medical evidence to substantiate the healing. So what is happening? So as a parent, you need to, you go on a journey yourself and ask questions and go through the process and come to an acceptance in a place that this is the handiwork of God. This is a child of God, and he is doing what he has to do with it. In the interim, what can I do as a parent? And let me tell you, this took me a long time. It was a long journey to come to that place. Okay. That I accept that this is a gift that God has given me. And these are the defects that I define as part of what he's given me. Why don't I work with him and in this journey, you know, so that I began to have a better understanding of my daughter, because he was doing things that he's so sociable. He connects with people that you will normally not, you know. He's got special gifts in terms of social integration and things like that. So I remember one teacher said, Barbara, you are looking at the formal structures of what boxes she can take and cannot take. Why can't you focus on the other aspects that she is fantastic, you know, and begin to develop it? And that was such an eye-opener for me. And from that on, I began to focus on where he is making inroads, where he's achieving, and where she's comfortable at, and praising and thanking God for that process. The other aspect that I think that most parents with faith tend to also overlook and causes unnecessary delays for children is the fact that whilst we are trusting God for the healing, we just sit. We just sit because we are not open for discussion. We are not open to look at what else is there to support my daughter, my child in the process. Yes, it's difficult to tell a parent that this sickness or this thing has no cure. You know, from my background, my belief system, I don't support that. I believe in the total healing of God. However, I also believe in the fact that can be a process, and there are things that you can do it whilst this thing is going on to also enhance the child, to also support you as a family, and to move things forward. Because what happens is that your inability to open up, your inability to assess request for support also tend to impact on the progress of the child, because one, you do not understand what is going on, and you haven't also sought, help in terms of the professionals that are able to support you to have an understanding of what is going on. So you are treating this, for instance, let's take things. My daughter has symptoms and mimics a child with autism, because the diagnosis is on the autistic spectrum.
Yeah.
So you have to follow structure with her. she follows structure to the core. And sometimes, even when she was growing up, in terms of her clothing, you cannot mix skirt with trousers or socks with panties. Everything has to be done in a certain way. And those days, when you mix things up, she gets so frustrated and she can even lash out. And we couldn't understand what that means. Why is she lashing out? It's just clothes, you know, until I came to an understanding of what that means to that child. Changing structure and routine has significant impact on them. I don't know how their brains work, but then it's such a huge thing. So having an understanding of that, even changed significantly, you know, significantly, because there was a period where she could not verbally communicate. So everything was, you know, physical. If she's not, if she is struggling or she wants to communicate and can't communicate, she lashes out. Even in church, she will come to church. The structure she knows is that the pastor, who is her father, preaches. So on Women's Day, when I've been asked to share a little bit, she will stand up in the church and tell you off. You know, in the congregation, yes, and say that you are not supposed to preach, mommy. You need to sit down. Is daddy's role? And people don't understand this, you see. And as we are talking about, then it goes down into the place of judgment. You don't discipline your child. And then you have people that are telling her to sit down, you know, and then you look on as a mother. How do I explain this to people for them to understand that is how she functions? You know, so it becomes very, very, very difficult. Very, very difficult, because the people that are supposed to give you support and nurture don't understand, don't have a clue of how to support you. And then they go into judgment. I have another, you know, parent that had significant disabled child. And one day she was like, nobody wants to even sit near my child, you know, and they speak with such pain and hurt in them that is difficult, you know. So it has two streams. My comfort and my reliability on God, I believe, has brought me this far in terms of my sanity, in terms of my progress with my daughter, and where I am at this point. In the same vein, my belief in him could have also hindered my support for my daughter, because I'm waiting for God to heal her, without realizing that God can heal in different sets. The doctors are channels for, you know, for healing. The nurses are channels for healing. Social services are channels for healing. But if you don't see that concept, you begin to get stuck in where you are. And our culture, you know, how dare you go and ask for support? You know, because already there is a stigma attached to children with disability. They are accursed. They are bad luck. They are, and even back home in Ghana, you know, they were isolated and put in different camps and things like that. Here in UK, we still have those prejudices. They are subtle. They are still there. I remember somebody told somebody, oh, I don't want you to be having friends with this woman because she's got a disabled child. It's a bad luck. Yes, and that was a personal experience, you know. So you are seen as intimidating, you are seen as aggressive, because I became aggressive in terms of who comes near my child. And I realized that over time, it changed who I am. I became on edge, you know. Everything you want to question it, everything you want an answer for. And it's not even just about your daughter. You rather it move on into other parts of your life. And then you wonder, what is happening to me? Am I changing? Who am I now? It becomes so, who do you talk to? Because you are the pastor. You are the pastor's wife that should have the answers for the spiritual healing and everything. And you are going through this. How do you share your story? So I wasn't talking. You know, I wasn't told. Even people would also, oh, she's all right. I dare not. And I think it was just because I wasn't confident enough. I didn't have information. I hadn't grown and matured in my faith to the level that I am now to understand what God is doing in my life. So I think that's what.
We'll carry on. I think that, you were speaking your truth. And this is so important to you. So I think that you would speak all day.
I know.
We want to bring our guest into the conversation also as we move on, because time is fast approaching too. Madam Tina.
Yes, dear.
Into the conversation. Thank you for your patience. And before you come in, I want to also encourage and to acknowledge and to appreciate all the wonderful comments that are coming through. People are agreeing. People are also using this as an avenue to also express how they feel. And I'm so grateful for your wonderful comments and everything that you're sharing in the powerful story. Look, we are so grateful. We are so grateful. And Mame Babs, Madam Krista, also for Mame Krista is also here, and she's also agreeing with you. Auntie Tina, let me bring you into the conversation, please.
Okay.
So we're looking at the role of faith and culture in contributing to the misconceptions about disabilities.
Right. So in terms of faith and culture, I know our sister Barbara has spoken at length from the Christian perspective. Having fostered a Muslim child, and I'm from a multi-faith household and background. My husband is a Muslim. So fostering a Muslim child was normal for us because my children practiced that faith as well. And the great awakening for us was when this child went into one of those moods where she wasn't able to express herself properly to us and started beating the hell out of me because of certain issues that she wasn't happy. And sometimes she couldn't even explain why she was in such a mood. And then she said, why don't you just kill me and be okay? Because I'm the devil, I'm the demon in me. So that really broke my heart. So, I mean, without bashing any religion, Christian or Islam or otherwise, sometimes the way we are educated within certain faiths, it may not be the intention, but as the children are growing up with their disabilities, they are picking up what others are telling them.
Oh.
That's right.
Now, I'm not saying this child's mother or social services were saying, but this child might have heard from somewhere that there is no point in her living.
Oh.
And that was really sad. So every time when she's in a mood, she was pushing and pushing and pushing for someone to do something to her so that she wouldn't be in this world anymore. Oh. Now, glory be to God. Years on, this child is so lovely. When she's in the right state of mind, she is so empathetic. She is so caring. When she sees me sad, Mommy, are you okay? She'll pat me on the back. And we managed to get her intensive therapy. Intensive therapy, and also with the support of my husband and the local mosque, because she went to the madrasa to learn about Quran, about her faith, and then she was able to learn the right way, because at some point she felt like maybe it was the religion, but with the support of my husband, she was able to learn the positive sides of her religion and how she can follow her faith without feeling like an outsider. Like in Islam, they will say, some of them were saying she has genes. She has genes. In Christian, we'll say there's demonic spirits or possessed. So a lot of these children are now carrying the burden of being the other. And the people close to them, being in church, being in the household they live in, being within the community and the society, are, saying things. And these children actually consume that and actually internalizes it. And then that becomes their label as well. And I do know some parents find it very frustrating, and so they rely on the faith and the churches. The churches are brilliant, but like some of the comments that were made, in social work, we call something parallel planning. So as we are waiting on the Lord for the healing, we do say manna do not come from heaven anymore. God is going to use human beings to support that child. And that could come from health visitors, social services, nurses. It could come from all walks of life, because there's an extensive training and research has been done in how to support children, especially with hidden disabilities. You know, Auntie Barbara talked about some of the traits with children that may be on the spectrum. You know, the child I was supporting has about 5 different traits: ADHD, autism. I had a whole psychology come to my house, and myself and my household were having therapy so that we can support the child. That is how complex it can be sometimes. When she's angry, sometimes she'll even put my jackets, my winter jacket, she'll soak them all in the bath so that I don't go out. And then when she's okay, she's like, you know, you can't get me away. You can't take, you know, you can't ask me to leave because you're the only one that gets me. You know, but I'm not the only one that gets her, because I was learning the strategies to support her needs. I was seeing past the behavior.
Yeah.
So that is what we need to do in society. Sometimes some people will say, but it's scary. You see a child and you don't know what to say. And sometimes, like Auntie Barbara rightly said, you become defensive as parents. So people that also want to support are not sure how to approach.
Yeah.
So it's a two-way street. Some of the parents need to acquire or get the support they need so that they can educate others. Parents, children with disabilities become educators, because a lot of people around you may not understand. So if you don't educate them, you end up hearing the negative side and the judgmental attitudes. That is why I said in the beginning, our faith leaders, our community leaders need to work hand in hand with disability teams and experts like Auntie Barbara. Otherwise, we are not moving forward. Okay.
Well spoken about the subject. And again, let me also appreciate the comments that are coming through. We really appreciate your comments and the quality of the information that you are adding to these discussions. Yes, Ramo. To say, and some no can say me can't be a betching. Auntie Barbara can be brave, Madame Tina can be brave. The more can say, yes, Ramo. My fan ferry, man can say, Antitina say, a man and every heaven about the same man and if we gas were moba. If we Madame Barbara Moba, if we are Madame Tina Moba, health visitors, school nurses, professionals, no more around, you know, my and ferry see a common chain for more. Yeah, sorry, so young 2 and some friend for no more my church rain. So the bay so be ember. Ewo yare bi na yare no enye bibi e wa bonti obi ehu a yehu kwan ya befa so ne nkwala natena ebe hu kwan ya befa ne awofo natena no ma wo say asori a little heaven yes ono kra ba asori kan na yem hihye no asori kan no obi kan wo platform no so ono kra de onya kra na nka lockdown ye open biom ni akwa asori biom because say na em so traffic kan no ato no na bia I say de bia me ba say yes remo. Okay. So let me bring Auntie Hindi into the conversation. So give us a quick before we move on, because I know our time is fast spent. So share your experience. I mean, from your perspective as a school nurse, what do you see in terms of the role that faith and culture is playing with the misconceptions and preventing people from accessing resources?
Well, I think Auntie Barbara and Auntie Tina said a lot.
Yes.
I think that the first step is for the parents. I mean, as Ms. Barbara said, the first step is accepting and then deciding to work with the professionals as you're praying and waiting for God's intervention as well. That is the first step. And when that happens, you make a breakthrough, because it breaks something in you, and now you know your child. So you need to accept that this is what is going to happen. I'm going to work, and then focus on the positives. Once you can focus on the positives of this child, you know where you can place this child.
Yeah.
It comes in when you have to even place a child in a school. You know the child's strengths, and you know that should I take this child to a special needs school, or because of the post, should I take this child to a mainstream school? Bearing in mind all the stigma and the bullying that comes with it. Because at the end of the day, you want what's best and what will help the child to grow. So you're going to work with a professional, and you need to know what's going on. When it comes to the culture, I'm so like more like Tina in a way, because I grew up a Muslim and I'm a Christian now. So for me, I think I'm placed in a very good place in terms of talking my communication with parents, because sometimes parents need to understand you. There is a lot of stigma when you have to talk to health visitors and school nurses, because they feel, oh, you're right away, you're going to tell the social services they're going to take your child away. That is a big myth that's around. They don't even want to talk to you about anything. But once you can get them, I've had a few times where I've had to, parents want to give me a hug, and you know how it is as a professional, you feel, oh, should I be getting a hug from a parent? As long as they get you, once they get comfortable with you and they trust you, that is the first step for you as a professional. Because for me, from the Islamic background, if they are good Muslims, and you can just say, listen, it's not your fault. In Islamic views as well, that disability is a challenge set by Allah. This is in the Quran. Okay, that's what in the Quran it says in the Quran. So you just have to channel them back to their religion. If it's Christianity, as Auntie Barbara said, she's believing God for a miracle. But then you also have to focus on the positive. So this is what God has given me. This is a gift from God. So what can I do? So you look at the positives.
Okay.
So when it comes to the religion and culture, and also we need to realize that majority of us were not born here. So we come with our cultural beliefs, and this is what a child should be. This is what a child should behave like. So when you come into this environment, the child has been born here. They are in a different environment. We need to try and learn our environment. So positive parenting, it's one of the best courses that we can do on our own. If you contact the local authority, go on it, because sometimes you feel your parenting is the best parenting, but what else is out there? You need to pick up some tips of positive parenting. Learn something yourself. Don't just focus on what what has been passed on to you from generation to generation. We need to learn new things to channel it to our children. You have two children. They both will be totally different children. Have different, what do I say? They're all different. They behave differently. So the way you parent one child will not be the same way you parent another child.
Exactly.
So we need to pick up on some of it. We need to relearn some things. Positive parenting. Because the way Auntie Barbara said, as long as I'm happy with my child, I know what I'm doing for my child, this is the right thing. It shuts your eye in a way to what other people say.
Yes.
Because this is my child. In my eyes, I've got a perfect child. This is what a child can do. Whatever anybody says, shouldn't make it, you try and shut your eyes to it. They can say whatever, but you know what you are dealing with. You know your child. Once the child has got your love and the child is happy with you, but this is where abuse comes in. If the child is not even happy with the parents and other people are bullying this child, where has the child got to go? The child has the love and support of the parent. That's the most important thing. And then you get the other support from other authorities. So from my perspective, from health, this is what is really important to do, for the parents to learn their own behaviors, just relearn some things and take some things out. Because we tend to, especially from our Ghanaian background, we tend to say, oh no, this is not what my mom told me. This is what you should be doing. My mom used to do this. No, things have changed. The child has been born here. The other thing, it's just difficult. I mean, I must say, as a parent, it's very difficult because this is what you've known growing up. And now you've got your own children. You have to relearn some new things. It's not easy, but it's something that you have to do for that child, for the well-being of the child.
Absolutely. Yes, somebody was asking the question about, what if your husband does not accept this? What if if your husband, is saying, no, this is temporal, this is going to disappear, and we believe, we've prayed, and that we are expecting, and you know, a friend saying, on your engine to muda. How we're looking at these obstacles that to accessing some of these supports and how those impact on us. Madam Barbara, I'm in from Rem.
And I think that is quite a legitimate question, and parents with children with disability can identify with. It is like I said, you as the mother, you go through your stages. The man is also going through their stages.
Yeah.
There could also be external influences. You've married a bad luck woman. You married a witch. You know, I know some families where the husband had just left because he couldn't cope with a child with autism. It's not because they are not loving, and it's not because they don't want to. It's because they don't understand whatever is going on. Yeah. And unfortunately, because of our cultural backgrounds too, they are not open for support. They are not open for, you know, discussion about it. So sometimes it's like when you are going through a challenge, it's like, oh, if you had done it well, it wouldn't have happened this way.
Yeah.
You know, so families tend to go through blame game. You know, I remember one woman that was talking to me was like, the husband said, I don't even know what you did before you married me. So this is the reason, the outcome of what you have done before that has generated this. So I think for those of us in our faith that has a church community, get a trusting person. And I stretch on this because it's not everywhere that you can go and talk about your business, you know. That aspect is there. Get somebody you can trust, somebody that your husband trusts, and then have a genuine discussion. You see, for me, with my husband, who is a pastor, and he also went through his phases, it was another man of God that was able to talk to him, you know, for him to come to certain understanding of what was happening. Do you get it? And once you get that support, you are able to come to a place where sometimes Isabel's condition has also got some behavior challenges with it. And we have to work together as a family to be able to support that. So if she's going through her phase, Richard is there to support me because I become the initial target of lashing out.
Yeah.
So what we do is that then we do role change. So then Richard stands in and then and do the physical side of things, and then explain to her, we are not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to hit anybody. This is not fair. This is not nice. You wouldn't like it. So talk calmly to her. But whereas you have a situation whereby the man is not interested and you are stuck as a woman,
I'm blaming you,
mother by yourself, that is very, very difficult. Despite that, what I would say is that as a mother, seek support for yourself. One, in terms of what your understanding is about the whole disability. You see, because once you are in a good place, you will be able to support your child, and you will not be so much affected by the external influences. Who is there and who is not there is important. But I believe that as the parent, seek support. If your husband is not supporting you in this, speak to a qualified social worker, counselor, somebody, even a friend. My friends, I have very close friends who were so instrumental in my journey. You know, sometimes they would not want you to think like you've got a disabled child. So when you were even talking about, said, okay, yeah, so what can we do? Let's go out, let's do this. You know, and it was so powerful. Sometimes when you are there, somebody will just send you a text just encouraging you. So get the right people around you. Find people with parents with similar conditions. Every condition, even if it's a hidden disability, autism, Asperger's, whatever, they have got parenting clubs, that you can join. And I really, that was very beneficial for me. It might not be for somebody because sometimes it's all doom and gloom, but sometimes you also get very good training tips, in terms of how you manage it, in terms of if the child presents this way, this is how you manage the child. And it does help. And find another way of talking to your husband. As every woman knows how to connect with their husbands, So you have to find, because if it becomes conflict all the time, he's not going to listen, So find a better way, find a better opportunity, a better time to sit down and talk to your husband. Say, look, this is what we are confronted with. Whether we are denying it, whether we are not denying it, whether we are praying about it, whether we are not praying about it. As we are seeking the help that we need, what can we do as a family to move forward, and be honest with each other that, this is having an impact on me. And I remember at some point, I think when Isabel hit the teenage age, certain aspects of the disability popped up, the aggression popped up, and everything is about, what has been done to me, injustices and things like that, which was a bit new to us. So we have to come together that when she presents this way, this is how we are going to manage it. This is how we are going to talk about it. And we got the school to support. We had very, very good teams, school team that were able to, when she's, sometimes she doesn't want to go to school. And when she makes up her mind like that, the rest will have to be late. So we have to speak with the school, and we had, teachers that will speak to her on the phone. They have a way of getting to her that is so amazing. And then off she goes. So do everything you can. Seek for your family for support. My parents were fantastic. You might not have it, but what I'm saying is that if you don't have the family support, go to your social network, seek support from there. Is the one thing seeking support, and another thing gossiping and allowing pity party to take hold of you, because the tendency for that to happen is really high, but you get the right people around you, they will be able to support you. So I think in terms of the family, it's difficult for most of the people I have worked with, and from my own experience, the men are the last people to accept, from their own ego, from their own backgrounds and things like that. It's really, really difficult. How can you tell me my son, my daughter is disabled? It's something that triggers something in them. I don't know what that is. But I think with the right communication, with the right education and support, it helps. I remember in our church, we have to do a seminar on that, because we have a lot of African men with similar backgrounds and things like that. So for people to educate, to tell us what it is and how to manage some of these things, and it does help. Sometimes some men don't like the direct approach. Find indirect approach to communicate to them. Involve them in the day-to-day role. You are good with this. Why don't you do that for her? You are good with that. Why don't you support her with this? And it helps. So you balance each other's strengths. What he's good at, compliment him, and get it going. My husband has a way of talking to Isabel that nobody would. And it's that, like, when they sit down and start talking, it's like a colleague or a friend-to-friend chat, and it helps. I am the the disciplinary. You haven't laid your bed, you haven't done that, but it works in different ways. So
good cop, bad cop.
And that's what I would say.
Madam, we can't stop you, and you speaking your truth, and you're speaking so passionately.
I'm so sorry, you have to step in when I'm talking too much. You have to tell me.
What I'm saying is so important, so we can't even stop. Madam Barbara say yes, so a member not too true. Me yonko a member. Me namfufo me nuanom ene mejanom. Yes, my am why yerenom. the all can say, ye wo a coin be a fason and colana becasa. It do be a now or a yakolandi the buffooning in a time, my service or no ben pa. Or no or a fence de be or tagare no yen or mantino or no ben pa antino, not in the buffon, but now swap them. Wait, who's way jay, waji, a gariano. No, I got the darkolano. Now, then I said, do baby, Nasa, mamino, a ye wabrea. No, what them. O see a fence, I can't go for the baby. Now, then I said, you one ma. No, why and a downfall. A do baby, no, I or Nipana or Tiano. Now, most sans that they are, and quite say, when a bonny, now when a papa. It is say, you might be bringing a bit to me. I say, a quiet befast in Colana, because I do a beer, my mom's or more enough for Nimana Colana, yena, a yes from Cono. Young boss are man entity. Ye honum na kolani yen no yambo ho sama entity obi ka say strength perspective just de bia no ye de bonu nko na ka echi bia na ye ka bonu ho asem ye papa no yen nyina so de bonu ne de obi ya bonu obi yen nyina ho nyina bibi wo ye honum a ye bonu ma ye be papa ne yen kan yi. Madam Tina, let's talk about the obstacles a little bit.
I think I'm looking at time, Kweku. Somebody has just now. We need to have a part 2. The obstacles we've touched on a lot about the obstacles, and if you don't mind, can I move on a bit to talk about the support available?
Okay, let's go on.
Yeah, because a lot of people are looking at that. The support available, Auntie Barbara and Auntie Hindi has already mentioned how some of these supports can be instigated, i.e. through the school nurse, through health visitors, and also the school. Once the child starts going to school and there's something wrong, depending on the teacher or the learning support assistance you get, they may be able to identify that and raise the issue first with the parent. And this is where I am pleading on behalf of our parents. Don't be too defensive when the teachers call you and talk to you about certain behaviors they've seen about the child. Because sometimes parents become very defensive. As a result of that, the teachers will just, escalate it straight to social services. And even there, you still have parents who are becoming extremely defensive and not being honest and being truthful. If you are honest, like I said, some of these behaviors and some of these disabilities, there may not even be a label to it. So it's good to have it assessed at an early stage. When it's referred to social services, an initial assessment can be done. And this is where children are probably in the mainstream. I really want to touch on, just play devil's advocate here. We keep saying parents know their children best. My question to our audience is, does every parent know their child best? Why do I say that? Sometimes yenim ekrom habra boy ya wo ye 6 weeks ye kwa adwuma because be me so anything. Wakofa o mama aba so me boa nhwa akola no wakofa onu ebi figa na aba nto oni akola na. Sometimes you leave home in the morning. You probably see your child for about half an hour. Some of us may not even see the child when you leave the house before the child wakes up. You come home in the evening, spend an hour or two, the child goes to bed. Already you are tired before you walked in. So you are not even paying attention. So I am not bashing parents, but I'm just hinting that not all parents know their children best. So when people around you identify and say something, please don't go straight into a defensive mode, because there may be things that you are not seeing, especially if you're a first parent. If you're a parent for the first time, and if you moved to UK at a very young age and you've not been around children, you've not been around parents, there may be things that you are missing. So why am I saying this? Please, in all honesty and with humility, take on board what others are saying and get to the mainstream so that your child can be assessed. We mentioned the EACP plan. When the child is assessed and the child has been approved as having a disability, that child could then be, back in the days, we used to call it a statement. So the child would be statemented. And that statement gives the child access to a lot of support out there. And that includes having some sort of funding to actually employ or acquire a support worker who can come in and give you some respite. Some parents also, depending on the severity of the disability and the challenging behaviors, some parents can be given respite. So maybe once a month, the child can go to a respite carer or a respite home, a children's home, so that the parents can also, get a bit of rest, and then re-energize their batteries, so that they will be able to help support the child. So there are a lot of support out there. Most importantly, a lot of us migrants, for one reason or another, if you are papa, you need krata. In Kolani Yarun, you mean ka. So when in krata or chrome hanasa or bano wo yare be a mepa show or bano benyamwa, e be crying namsa yarianos now swabenya on krata. My uncle, my dream will say, Bia. Immigration, social services, me bama yedimia kofi. Sika social services be bo was akola no ho no. Better some better letter mo nya on krata na wanka so ahwe wo ma. Since social service be hwe nkola na mam.
Absolutely.
I've been part of some of these issues where children have parents have actually been able to legalize their status, and even no recourse to public funds have been lifted off, so that they'll be able to support their children. It's better. Social services don't just take children away. They keep families together.
That's right.
So they do anything possible to keep families together. So I'm pleading with our parents out there who think one reason or another, they are scared to reach out to the local authority, to social services. Please, social services don't wear scary masks. They are there to support you. And as long as you are willing to do the course, positive parenting courses and things like that, your child will be with you. I mean, I live in one of the best local authorities when it comes to early intervention. Workers can even come to your home in the morning to help you prepare the child to school. Workers can come in to help after school. And workers can come and help to at nighttime routine. As we said, a lot of these children with hidden disabilities have a lot of emotional issues that they want to express. And so that causes a lot of problems. They lash out, they do this, they do that. So when you have that additional support, it really helps you, the parent, as well, because we all know the impact of having long-term stress of dealing with children with disability. It has a huge impact on the parents as well, which is why the support is out there. Auntie Barbara has mentioned the clubs, specific disability clubs. And also you have the carers, each local authority have their own carers UK or carers support. Please be part of all that. I know our people will say,
say it again.
So let's be open and honest when it comes to that. Because for all you know, there'll be another parent just down the road who has a child who is going through exactly what your child is going through. A lot of these children don't even have friends because of what we stated prior. So when parents get together, their children are also able to get together and socialize. When you get the EHCP, a lot of the children have issues with socializing, because they are alienated, and so they struggle to even socialize in the mainstream. So the support is out there. Let's look for it. GASWA will be there. People are asking for contact details and things like that. Contact GASWA, contact your local support groups. The support will be there for you. As long as you are honest with what you are going through, you will get the right support. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's look at the support that is available as we go on. Who am I bringing into the conversation now? I think Madam Hindi. Please share some of the support that is out there in the community, please.
Oh, okay.
And then perhaps maybe as you do that, let's add what are some of the consequences if we do not access those support. So let's talk about the support and talk about if you do not, what is the reverse? What is the alternative? If people really want to go through that. So add that too, please, as you go along.
Oh, okay. I think Auntie Tina said a lot of things about the support groups. So with the local authorities that Auntie Tina said, they've got the the inclusion and equality team. That's who you need to switch. Most of these people you can self-refer. The workers who can come into you is a CFP workers, which is the Children and Family Support. You can self-refer. So just contact them, tell them, be honest with them, tell them what you need, and they can come and see you. Also, with schools, every school has got a safeguarding policy. Please, when you take your children to school, that they give you such a big pack. You know, you come home and you're thinking, all this paperwork, what am I going to do with it? Take your time and read the safeguarding policy. Now, in that safeguarding policy, it actually states that they have to look after your child to be safe and be happy in school. Now, if anything is going wrong, these are the things. There are some terms that you need to, stand on and hold the school responsible.
Yes.
And accountable for whatever happens to your child. Because it says in your safeguarding policy, why are you not supporting my child? My child comes home and he's always crying. There's something going on. Or your child comes home and he's always being picked on. Why is that happening? Because in your policy, it says that this child is supposed to be safe and happy in school. Have a discussion with them. As soon as you mention that safeguarding policy, they know you know what you're talking about. And one other thing too, health professionals always seem to be very patronizing, that we talked about. Because that's a myth out there. But you know your child's condition. Please take the time to study that condition, read about it, know whatever that your child needs. As long as you know what the child needs, and then you keep going to the GP or the pediatrician for your support, you'll get what you need. Because when you go and sit down, you need to have a very informed discussion with this pediatrician. And you know that this is what the child is lacking. So at every point in the child's life, you know what's going on. When Madam Auntie Barbara was talking about the changes that happen with your daughter, puberty sets in. The child is growing. The child is still a growing child. And then puberty sets in. Even with our children, when puberty sets in, they change. So this child with difficulties, when puberty sets in, that becomes more challenging for this child. So those are some of the things that we overlook. And because of that, we don't see what is going on with this child. And that's the support that we need. So contact your local authority, see what support is there. They've got every local authority will have an inclusion and equality team. And now with the diversity, they are supposed to help you. So once you know the policies, code the policy, read everything that you have access to. Because some of the information or the services are not open to everybody. And that's why when you join some of the parenting groups,
yes,
one parent might just find a loophole, find that access, and then get that support. So if you have that support group, you will know what is going on.
Yes.
Because there are so many things that even we professionals, we don't know is out there.
Yes.
When you speak to the parents, you get to know that, there is a club being open. There's something for anxiety. There's something for behavior. There's something for, emotional well-being. There are classes and the carers, respite, things like that. Most people are not aware. And because they think it's a stigma as well, going on these respite holidays. It's not. It's for you. Because when Madam Barbara was talking about seeking support for you, the parents, because if you don't seek support for yourself, that's where your own depression sets in. If you are not well, you can't look after a child.
Yes.
Because you need to be able to look after the well-being of your children.
Absolutely.
If you're struggling, how are you going to look after the child who's also struggling? And that's where sometimes you have children being taken away.
Yes.
But then when they are taken away, they want you to, go and get that support for yourself.
Yes.
Get it. But you find that some parents, that's where they start fighting the system. And then whatever you say, it becomes like a race issue. It's not a race issue. It's about you educating yourself. Why have they taken the child? They wanted me to seek support for my anxiety, my depression. Yes, go for it, because you'll get something out of it at the end of the day. Your child will be returned to you. Your child will be returned to you because they know that you can now support that child. And as Tina said, if it's housing that you need, the social services on the system will help you get proper housing for the child.
Yes.
But it has to be based on health and safety.
Yes.
So you got all these professionals working with you for one case, then you have everybody moved in. Because once they say the child's on child protection, Everybody sits up because nobody wants to do a shoddy job and then their names are brought up. Everybody wants to do a good job and then the outcome is perfect. So everybody is there to support you. Nobody is there to hound you or get the child out taken away from you. So if you don't seek that support, that's what we're saying. You don't want the child taken away from you. Because long term, the child suffers. Long term, the child suffers. You suffer, the child suffers. So we want you to seek that support, which is readily available. Read about the child's condition. Then you can also help the child and help yourself. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Just say, your can say, my internal. Now, what I like about this country is that most of the things that happen in this country are led by ordinary citizens. Most of the changes, most of the laws, Claire's law, what law, this law, they are ordinary citizens who are affected by a situation and they say, no, this is not good enough. And they start a campaign, they start a petition, and then things change. Rashford has been able to change, free meals for children in school. He's a footballer. He used this influence. Parents are doing this. Let's not sit down. The organization is na ho. Yemusa na yekobusa and yebenya. When yekobusa obi few. Everybody is busy. If you do not ask, you do not get. Knock and you shall receive. That is what we are saying, and that is what our guests are saying. Madam Tina, Pacho Kankakanafe, we will look at trying to wrap up by looking at our responsibilities and what we can do as a community to try and help. We've said a lot today, but we just need to draw that as we conclude in terms of our responsibilities as GASWA, as professionals, as Ghanaians, as Black people, as right now it is what? BAMER. BAMER.
Correct.
BAMER, as the Black, Asian, minority, ethnic, refugee groups.
Yes.
What can we do to help each other? Madam Tina, Mami Stati also.
Thank you once again. What can we do? As Africans, we have always said that it takes a whole village to raise a child. And we are in the UK, and I can still say it takes a whole community to raise a child. The obstacle here is how we approach the situation. As Auntie Barbara said, when you don't know the condition of a child, sometimes it may come out, you may think you are helping, but you are actually making the situation worse. So before we try to offer support, we should ask the parents to educate us. Sometimes the children can also be very supportive, The children that are also learning their condition, they can help you. So we, as the ordinary citizens around the children and the parents, let's not be afraid to ask. Some of the children can be very friendly. When they approach us, let's open our arms and embrace them. Let's not push them away. Let's not avoid eye contact, because those children are very sensitive and they will know whether this adult likes me or not. So we have to be very careful when we are dealing with children with disabilities and their parents. Sister Hindi mentioned some of the impacts on the parents when they are not getting the right support. So a lot of these parents may be stressed out. They may even be going through depression. So it's the way we approach them that will make them realize whether we are there to support or we are there to actually patronize them and also judge them. So our approach and how we communicate with them is very vital. I can't stress that enough, because when we don't do that, then we can actually compound on their already struggling situation. Okay. And also with all the support groups that we have mentioned, is open to everybody who wants to know about different conditions. It's not just there for the parents. Of course, for confidentiality and data protection reasons, when they have the peer support group, that will be closed group. But in terms of accessing education, thank God for modern technology, Google and all of that, you can access the information. Sometimes all you need is, oh, Auntie Barbara, you have such a lovely daughter. clearly, you know, what condition does that child has? And the parent can be open and say, oh, my daughter, blah, 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 has Prader-Willi syndrome. Oh, that's a new one. I haven't heard of that, you know, and then you start a communication, you know, so it's how we approach it. So the whole community, we need to come together and support these children. We need to empathize, not sympathize, because sometimes offering sympathy is also a way of offending them, because you are seeing them, but they are experts in the situation they are in. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And as we wrap up and bring our final words, can I come to Madam Barbara?
Well, I would say to every parent that has got a child with special needs, to say that that child is a gift, and receive it as such. Open your heart and love that child, because nobody knows, you know, what that child can be in the future. Seek support. There is support in the system. There is support around you within your social network. Get to people, speak about it, you know, and get the right support. Because without you being there and without you without you being the right support, you'll be in a way to function effectively to support your son, your daughter, or your husband, or your parents. They are special, they are. So you have to come to terms with that. It is difficult, and I want to speak to the people that also are in faith, that God works in different ways. God can use an angel, he can use a doctor, a nurse, a community psychiatrist, nurse, you know, all things are there. So as you are praying, open your eyes for the support that is all for you. If you haven't received physical healing, what people are looking for, look at what is the, don't shun away from what support is available. I would also say that in our faith communities, let's also be too quick to be judgmental on parents with, you know, and sometimes, like Tina said, people become patronizing in their way, you know, offering support. One, because they don't know how to offer the support. So engaging with the parents and also looking for what else can be done is very, very important. So I would say that for the children, they are ours, they are a gift from God, whatever how we believe it. The support are there in the system. Access it. If you are praying, keep praying, but also open your eyes and look at what support is in the system and access them. I would also say finally that professional support is very, very important. However, not every professional is professional. I have had a very bad experience of professional, you know, engagement that really derailed me because he didn't know what he was talking about. Okay. So if you are upset with a professional, seek another professional opinion. Don't sit on one person's bad judgment of you or power imbalance, you know, and then shut down with professional support, especially with social services. As everybody has said, the support for children with disability, there's a whole team for that look at specific children with disability. Like we said, you can have the short breaks, you can have the respite, you can some even go on to holidays and things like that. So contact your local social services team and then seek for the right support. Social services are not always there to take children. Early interventions, as we have said, does help in terms of supporting you in managing the condition. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much. Madam Hindi, it's getting a little bit dark where you are.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, okay, to crown it all.
Yes.
To crown it, so I think you've all said enough. What I need to say is that children with disabilities moving center stage. We've seen Paralympics, we've seen comedians, we've seen TV presenters. So we are very optimistic that giving the right support, going through the right channels, they are out there to do their own thing. We have professionals have got unconscious bias as well.
Yes.
So it's something with professionals that we need to also look at. We need to read. I because I work a lot with social workers, I've got Dr. Tedam's books, which I read as well, because I have to also educate myself on that. We need to read. I think it's really, really important. We need to read and update ourselves with things that are happening. So we need to also learn about the conditions, seek support, as Madam Barbara is saying. Early intervention is really, really important. Make sure that the child is happy. Listen to the children. Listen to our children. Because if we listen to them, they will tell you what they're going through. Don't just brush it off all the time and say, oh, this child is just annoying or just hyper all the time. But listen to them. You study your children, you know their children. And as Auntie Tina said, it's not every parent who knows what the child is going through.
Yes.
So if we talk about religion and and culture, taking your children out on a school day and staying out all night for church service and staying out all night for parties, for some of our parties go on very late in the night. This child gets frustrated, gets tired, and where the anxiety, and sometimes too, the people that you mix up with, you need to know where you're taking your child to. Some of these parties, they pick up very bad habits and things like that. It's really, really important. You need to look out for such things. Yes. So you need to, because it's our culture, we say, oh yes, we're going to it's a family friends party. You overlook certain things. No, we don't. You have to be very careful because the child is not aware. The children are vulnerable. So where you take them to is really important. So if they come and tell you that this is happening, you need to listen to them, find out for yourself. And, at the end of the day, we need to also read and educate ourselves.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Today we have really, extended our time by about 17 minutes. And amazingly, we have about 40 people still watching. So that is how important this topic is for people. Look, the part twos are becoming a lot, We have the child abuse and culture part 2 to do. We now have religion and culture on disabilities part 2. As a result of last 2 weeks' discussion, next week we're doing positive parenting.
Wow.
Please come back. Please come back. And all our guests, because what we do is that we want to give our guests a little bit of a break. So we try and rotate them. But next week, it's not going to be any exception. Please come back and be part of the conversations. We are definitely going to come back with a part 2. We've got so many topics to cover now as a result of some of the discussions that we are having. And we are so grateful. Look, as we said, GASWA, we are the Ghanaian Social Workers Association. Look, if we did not care as social workers, we'll not be doing this. If our business is to take away children, we'll not be doing this preventative work. As we said, social workers primarily are to unite families. Whenever it is safe to do so, we do that. It is only under very difficult mitigating circumstances where we would advocate for a child to leave their family home. We try to, even when they leave, we still don't desert them. We try and work with the parents in order for the children to return home safely. What we are saying here today is that, look, in terms of our children, we care about them, especially in terms of our children that has got some disabilities. We care really about them. So what we are saying is that please support the families, support your friends. If you know a mother that is struggling, offer some of these respites. Help. I know that coronavirus may not allow us to be able to mingle the way we used to, but it will go away. It will definitely go away, and then things are becoming a bit normal. So what can I say to our panelists? I want to say thank you very much, and thank you for passing through, and may God bless you. So let's say goodbye to our panelists one after the other. We'll start with Madam Tina. Goodbye. Madam Tina.
Bye.
Goodbye. And then we want to say goodbye to Madam Hindi.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye to you. Goodbye. And last but not the least, oh, Madam Barbara, Mama Sofo. I am proud to be a GASWA member because of the wonderful experience you shared today. God bless your ministry. God bless what you are doing. And thank you for sharing your personal experience.
It's always a pleasure.
I'm going to talk to you again because we've got another. All right. All right. So goodbye. And
God bless you.
Bye-bye. 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 All right. All too soon, ladies and gentlemen, we are very grateful that you passed by. Thank you, everybody, for all that wonderful comments. Thank you so much, Madam Tina. Thank you, Rahina, too. Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Monica. Thank you, Madam Efua. Thank you, John. Thank you, Nanaya. Thank you, Dinah. Thank you, Mami Ekia. Thank you, Irene. And thank you, all of you that passed through. Josephine, Nanaya, Yabuachua. What can I say? Yabuachua. Thank you so much. Thank you all for passing through. We are very grateful that you came to listen to this conversation. Please share it. Share it. Somebody else somewhere needs to hear this information because we need to educate our people. We are GASWA. We are the Ghanaian Social Workers Association. We say GASWA is action. GASWA is excellence. GASWA is service to the community. Once again, what we're saying is that if you want us to come to your church, contact us. If you want us to come to your Zoom meetings, contact us. Until next week, may God be with all of us. Take care and God bless. Goodbye.